Hey everyone, welcome to Sisters for Financial Independence. It's Catherine Agupjan, and here at Sisters for Fi, we help you manage your money better so that you can live a life of impact today and tomorrow. In this video, we are going to talk about the Pay Yourself First budget. It is one of many budgeting strategies that prioritizes saving first. Now, depending on your goals, your accountability needs, you may find a specific budgeting method that works for you. This budgeting method focuses on saving first and paying yourself first. Let's see what that looks like. Here's a diagram of what this can look like. This might vary depending on what you have access to, but it's pretty similar for a lot of people. And basically, first step is that you get your paycheck. Now, when you do get your paycheck, you'll get taxes taken out, Social Security taken out. But if you have access to and the means to, you can use pre-tax contributions to lower your taxable income and save and pay yourself first. So, first option might be to put money into a 401k retirement account. That means you've just saved up for your future self using pre-tax money. At that point, the money will continue to grow. When you do pull out the money is when you will pay the taxes then. Doing this pre-tax contribution allows you to lower your taxable income and lower your tax expenses today. Another option that you'll be paying yourself is, of course, to take out insurance, medical, dental, vision, and HSA or FSA. And this again allows you to lower your taxable income. And some of you may have benefits for transit. So even before you start spending money, some of these accounts have been funded and you're essentially paying yourself for the future. Now, as your paycheck hits your checking account, then you'll start thinking about other savings goals that you have. This can be long-term or short-term savings goal. One may be an emergency savings account that you put in a high-yield savings account. That's called the HISA. You might have a travel fund that you prioritize because travel is important to you, or any other savings goals that you might have, like saving for a car. You prioritize that first. And then another option for you might be to put money into an IRA or a brokerage account. These are investment accounts that allow you to grow money. The Roth IRA has a tax advantage. The brokerage does not, but there's no limit to the brokerage funding. So these are options for you. Again, you're putting your money into savings. So now paycheck, pre-tax, post-tax, and then we focus on paying down student loans, perhaps credit card, and then all of your other expenses. So depending on how you are with prioritizing your goals, by the time you come to this, you might have very limited discretionary income, and you might have to adjust your numbers a little bit to ensure you have enough to pay for the necessities. But if you have a goal and you want to prioritize saving first, this could be the budgeting method for you so that you save early, often, before you spend on other stuff. Let's navigate to what can that look like with numbers. Now let's walk through what the Pay Yourself First budget can mean in terms of numbers. We will walk through 4 scenarios so you can see what that looks like. Some of these numbers will vary depending on your personal needs and financial goals and what kind of benefits you have access to from work. But some assumptions. I'm making the assumption that this particular person makes around $51,000 between their W-2 and some side hustle income, and they also have student loans at $3,600. Now, when we walk through the diagram of the Pay Yourself First budget, we mentioned a few things that you can take advantage of, and these are tax advantage accounts that you can put money in that lowers your taxable income and allows you to save and invest your money for the long term. 401k is one of them, HSA, IRA, and then of course is a taxable brokerage, which is a post-tax account that allows you to invest money for the long term. There's no limit on that, and it can be a great way for you to, again, invest that money and save. Now, for some of these accounts, you do have some contribution limits, and there are some income requirements. So I will link some cards as I walk through them so that you can follow along. And if you want to learn more about the particular account, you can click through. 401k, at least for 2022, has a new limit of 20,500, which means you can contribute up to that. Depending on the work company that you work for, you might have a cap on the match. Standard and average is 4% of salary. You might have access to an HSA, which is a health savings account that provides you tax advantage growth of money that can be used for health expenses. And then you also have the option of an IRA, individual retirement account, that can allow you to again add on to your savings for the future. And then you have your taxable brokerage. So let's walk through our scenario one first, which is just someone without a plan and who might just want to have a little more disposable income because they want to save that money, or they're not aware yet that you can put money into these other accounts, which can allow you to invest and save for the future. So we have our net income, which is an estimate around $39,000. This can vary depending on how much you're putting away for pre-tax, but $39,000 is our baseline for net income. This person knows that they can take advantage of a 401k account, so they're doing that and getting the match, so that's excellent. But they're not aware yet that they can put money towards an HSA or an IRA, or even investing in a taxable brokerage account, which is a regular investment account. So for their total investments, they have $5,100. Great start. They are also saving money for short term. Now for short term, these are goals and perhaps money that you will need within short term, so within 1 to 2 years. Normally this money sits in what's called a high yield savings account, a HISA. Money is safe in there, so easily accessible, but it won't be growing as much. So depending on your goals, these savings will be intact and available. And so this particular person also has student loans of around $3,600 a year. So that means they have money left over for the year at $29,570, give or take. Monthly disposable income is $2,464. Now, at this point, they can do whatever with that money, spend it, and who knows what will become of the money they spent. On the second scenario is our person with knows the vibes and has a plan for what to do with their money. So they're taking advantage of the 401k, taking advantage of the match. They don't know yet of the HSA, or their own employer doesn't offer it, so they're not contributing money to that. They are contributing money to an IRA because they know that they are under the income limit, and they know that helps them save more money in a tax advantage account. And then they are also investing just a little bit in a taxable brokerage because they have some stocks that they like and they're investing in that. So total invested is around $13,000. This particular person also has a plan because they want to travel more. So they're putting money away in a short-term savings for traveling, $5,000. And they're continuing to put money towards student loans. So their leftover money for the year is around $17,570, and that is around $1,464 for each month. Now look at the difference between the spending money for these two scenarios. But note that this particular scenario person is focused on perhaps a higher goal to travel more, and instead of having more discretionary income, they want to save that for travel. All right, moving to scenario 3 is someone who does not have access to some of these benefits. So no 401k access, no match, no HSA, but because they don't have those access, they know that they can save within an IRA. And because they're not able to maximize some of these accounts, they're going to put a little bit more into the taxable brokerage, so at least the money grows. And when we're talking about these accounts, I just want to make sure that this is money that's invested in the stock market. And Based on statistics, the stock market has grown over time, and as long as you hold it for the long term, you will benefit from investing in the stock market. And so this person has decided to do that. So their total investment is $12,000. They have short-term goals of $1,000. They also have student loans. So money left over is around $22,670, and that's around $1,889 for the month. Now, your scenario 4 is someone who knows that they can maximize all of these accounts. So they're doing that, maximizing $20,500 in the 401k, getting that match, maximizing HSA, IRA. But because they're already maximizing all of these tax advantage accounts, they don't want to put money into a taxable brokerage, or they don't have any cash left. They also have some short-term goals. No student loans, which is one of the reasons why they might have decided that, hey, I want to put in more money into these tax advantage accounts. And the money left over is $6,000 a year. That's $507 a month. Now, this is kind of critical and when you're looking at this, right? Because this is money that you will need to live on. Now, for some people, 507 may be enough if you live in a low-cost area. You are sharing an apartment or house hacking, or living at home still and don't have a lot of expenses, or have really got your expenses down to almost zero. So what you'll need to do is really also understand what are your critical and necessary expenses when you plan out your budget, because that will determine if you really can afford to save this much. So keep those numbers in mind. There's also this number here, which is the total invested. So this is the money that will be growing for you. If you are thinking about pursuing financial independence, which is the point where your money is making enough money to pay for your yearly expenses, then you need to be saving early and often and really investing that money so that the return on your investments is paying for your expenses. Now, the greater your total investment is, the greater your money is working for you and getting you that nest egg that you want. So this is basically the pay yourself first budget plan, and it's going to vary per person. This is not a budgeting method for everyone. It is a budgeting method for someone who wants to prioritize their savings and investment first, and they may have already figured out they can live on a minimum amount of money. So instead of just having extra money that they might not know where to spend it, they're going to move it towards investments and diagram for a second, because the ultimate question might be, would I have enough at the end of the month to pay for my basics? And what you'll need to do is basically do a reverse engineering of your budget. So usually budgets are between fixed and variable expenses. You know your fixed expenses because that's most likely things that are not changing. Your rent is not changing every month. Your car payment, your student loans are not changing every month. Your groceries might fluctuate depending on if you eat out or not. But one thing you want to do is perhaps track some of your variable expenses over time to see how much they fluctuate and estimate an average for that. So you know that by the end of the month, you have enough to meet those variable expenses. And from there, as you kind of pay off certain things, if you pay off credit card or if you pay off like student loans, now you have more money towards either saving or discretionary or both. And that can be, the beauty of this is that once you have that extra money left, you put more towards your savings. Maybe you increase 1% your 401k, or even if you make an extra paycheck or an extra income or an extra 1% in salary, you can adjust and let that filter through and trickle down so that you're also saving the 1% and focusing on your savings goal. Helpful. If you found it helpful, give it a like, and if you want, subscribe to Sisters for Fi for more money lessons. I will also encourage you to put up a plan for yourself like this. I'll leave a link to this Google Sheets in the description so you can take a look at this example. And I also encourage you to track this number over time. How much are you investing over time? Remember, investments are the ones that are making you money for the future. So track to see how this grows over time or how it changes depending on your goals and your salary and your income. Now, it is absolutely possible that you will actually be in all of these scenarios. And it may not happen today, it may not happen next year, but as you move towards life, you get a new job, you might have access to different benefits, you might end up working for yourself, so you don't have access to some of these company benefits. So what you want to do is understand what all of your options are as you move through the different stages of life. As you make more money, what you want to do is make sure you're also saving as much and using that money wisely for yourself. So there may be a time where you're just here, scenario one, don't really know yet where the money is supposed to be going, so you just have a lot of disposable income and are just vibing with life. And actually that's fine, because it's great to do what you want to do early on in life. You have little to lose, but put a plan in place sooner rather than later. You might be at a point where now you can save more and access some of these other benefits, so take advantage of that. You might be at a point where you actually leave a job with benefits and go on your own. You still want to be saving for yourself should you need some of those funds later on. And of course, last scenario is that as you make more money, you are now able to set more money aside, and you want to be taking advantage of that. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Of course, ask questions in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments on this particular video, and I will see you in the next one, which will drop on Thursday.